Right, as you can see, we've only gone and bought a Fiat 500, and I know what you're all thinking, it's the same thing over and over again, isn't it? Another Fiat 500. But I can assure you guys, this is something far more interesting.
I've only bought this one as well! So I've gone and bought these two Fiat 500s from Facebook Marketplace, spares and repairs, for 750 quid.
And this one doesn't even start. Knackered.
And this one does run, but has a massive problem. That's why it's spares and repairs. Let's find out what it is. So I bought this one, and it does come with a fault. Now this has an issue with the gearbox. I don't know whether you can hear that. Whether you can pick that up on camera or not, but it's making a drumming noise. Now the car changes through the gears perfectly fine. I've drove it about 30-40 mile home. Obviously the person selling the car said it's the gearbox is knackered on it, but I don't think it is.
So we don't know which one we can save, if we can even save any at all. So what we're going to do now is get them on the ramp and see what the damage is underneath. Let's have a look.
Because I've only got one good battery between the two cars, one that died totally and one charge up, I've only got the one. So I need to keep transferring the batteries over just to get them to run. So because I know this one starts and drives, we're going to get this one on the ramp first, and then this one's going to be a bit more difficult, but I still want to see how bad it is underneath. I'm just going to take the aerial off, only because it's going to hit the roof and we need as much room as possible. Hopefully we can be able to get a bit higher. So I decided to take a little break from Copart and see if I could grab a bargain on the Facebook Marketplace. My goal was to find a cheap car that needed mild repairs that I could fix and flip quickly. That's when I came across this white Fiat 500 listed at a very reasonable price. The photos were, let's just say, not doing it any favours. You couldn't really see much and the description lacked detail, but that to me screamed opportunity. Poor pictures often mean fewer views, which can mean a better deal for someone who knows what they're looking for. So I messaged the seller to arrange a viewing, and soon after we agreed a price of 350 quid. She told me that it was her daughter's car, used for learning to drive, but the car is now making a noise and she's been told that the gearbox is packed in. That didn't scare me off. I've seen worse from Copart, and besides it still drove, so it couldn't be that bad. The motor history looked decent too, nothing alarming, just the usual wear and tear you'd expect on a Fiat. The bonus, it still had a valid MOT until August 2025. So now let's take a closer look and see what I got myself into. Now this is a category N, but not for the damage as shown on the front of it now. It was a previous category N, and the girl who owned the car that passed the test in it and had an accident in it, and her father repaired the damage as best he could. Now, I don't know what the damage was previously, but obviously we can see the damage now, which is all this. So let's have a look how bad this car actually is underneath. Now obviously this bumper has had a bit of a whack, and I don't know what they've done to repair it. It looks like they've just stapled it together. We'll have a look underneath when we take all the front bumper off. But straight away you can see it is held in with a screw. So it's not the best. This headlight is gone. This is gone, it's all broken. Now the noise was coming from the front passenger side. God, look at this. What's that? I don't think that's a Fiat. That looks like a lid to a plastic container. They said they've had new front lower arms, so we were interested to see that. A bit of rust coming on this wing, but it doesn't matter. Tread looks alright on this tyre. This tyre is on the limit. Well, needs replacing. This is gone. It's probably one of the reasons why she's had an accident. Spring's okay. Shock looks okay. There's no misting, although it's a bit rusted. It's missing the cap for this one. It's not even there. But this looks okay. Just a little bit of rust coming on this wing. Not too bad. That's okay. Just a front tyre. Can't really see the discs and pads. So just underneath the car. Doesn't look that bad. You got a little bit of oil seepage coming from the top of that sump. It's hardly anything. These normally leak really bad. It's a pretty good sump on here, to be fair. Now we have got a bit of misting up on the drive shaft, and you have got a little bit of misting up over the front of this gearbox. But I still reckon, God, this wheel is stiff. I reckon it's either a wheel bearing or drive shaft. I don't actually think that gearbox is on its way out. I really don't. So I think we might go for that option first before we even do anything with this. But that looks straight, there's no damage. The common place for these to fail is on this spear. It starts to leak. But it just looks like we've got some sort of leakage up the top there. Maybe a slave cylinder leak. Can't really see from up here. The exhaust is a bit, the flexi on the exhaust is a bit crappy. But I think the exhaust has got a little bit of a blow, and it looks like it's come off the hanger at the back there. So this might need to be replaced. This tyre's bald as well. There's a little dent there and a few scrapes. This rear bumper has had a whack as well, and the boot have had a whack, so that could be from the previous Cat N. But the boot has had a ball up, so let's have a look underneath. Common for these to fail or start rusting is on this rear beam. Doesn't look too bad. And if you look, that rear beam there, or the rear crash bar, has got a dent in it. So that's definitely had a little push at some point. It's gone, so this needs to be replaced. But it all looks pretty good. Nothing's broken. These look like fairly new shocks. Just need a good clean up. They've been greased, it looks like, with something. So this can be cleaned up. This is fine. This is not a bad car at all. Right, we're going to get in the car, put it into gear, because I want to see if we can hear where that noise is coming from. Right, just stay in the car a minute, Tom, and I'll tell you when, right? Put it in first. Take your foot slowly off the clutch. Give it a rev, Tom. Now this side's definitely restricted, and that could be drive in there, or this wheel bearing. This will not turn. I don't think you can hear that. But that wheel's got a bit of a buckle in it as well. This is out of water at some point. Watch it don't fall now. That's so much easier. This car needs a lot of work to get it up to a decent standard. But underneath it's pretty solid. It just needs an exhaust and a few other little bits. 4 new tyres possibly, and whatever's wrong with that drive shaft gearbox. plus this has got service history, and it had a timing belt done in 2019. Normally on these I think it's 50,000 miles and 5 years, so this will need probably doing again at some point. So if I was going to do this one, then it would have a new timing belt.
To summarise, this car needs some serious work and attention to get it into a somewhat decent condition. I honestly don't know what he was thinking when he said that this was in an okay state. One major problem I see is that it's probably one of the dirtiest cars we've ever worked on. But beneath the surface, things don't get much better. There's a significant amount of rust, and the underside has definitely seen better days. When it's driven, it makes a noise that's very hard to ignore, and that is definitely not normal. As if this wasn't enough to put you off, the tyres are completely bald, and the bumper looks like it was screwed on in a panic, and the wheel arch liner is made from something you'd expect to find in a kitchen. This car needs some serious work, but let's see if the other one is any better.
The only way I've been able to get this car to start is by jumping it. It will not start unless you bump start it. Once it's bump started and it's warmed up a little bit, it will try and fire up, but after that you won't have none of it. But I honestly don't know what's wrong with this car, but they've said they've replaced a lot of parts on it. It tries to fire up, but I don't know whether it's an immobiliser fault, fuel fault, out of time, it could be anything. Looks like we're pushing it, Tom.
Yeah, looks like it. One, you're doing alright.
How the hell I managed to drive this car home is an understatement. I drove it about 9 miles with the fear of it cutting out and it not starting again.
Oh, you need that? This is so silly.
Luckily it started and drove fine, but it hasn't started since. The only way to get it running now is to jump start it, which isn't ideal.
So this car is really rough. And the only way to keep it running is me keeping my foot on the accelerator pedal just to get it to tick over. Then it will decide to run for a little bit and then die. Oh, it's gone. Don't know what is wrong with it, but it's just not running right. The only consolation, it does come with this nice Apple CarPlay. And now it's ticking over. Crazy. This one is really weird because it's ticking over now. But I'm just glad we got it on the ramp because that was hard work, Tom, innit?
Yeah, it was hard work. I don't know.
How you doing? How you doing?
I don't know. It's not bad. Yeah, it was hard work. I had to push it. How many times do we have to get push it now? Back and forth, just to get a shot.
I don't know. I don't know. But it's up on the ramp now, so we can finally have a good look at it. Same as the other one. Nice tyres on this one. That's not good there, is it?
Exactly the same problem there, with it seeping oil out of the sump. This has got an MOT until the end of January, but this one hasn't even got a flexi on there.
That is a box and a half. What is that? So the only consolation is this gearbox is okay, and the gearbox alone are about £200 to £300. So we've got a gearbox. Now as this is an older car, it hasn't got the reinforced beam as well. You've got another bar that goes across there. Obviously the usual corrosion. That's falling out of there. That's just hanging out of there. That exhaust is knackered. And the handbrake doesn't work on this at all. Hence why we've had a lot of trouble trying to hold it to stop it from rolling. The reinforced bar is fine.
If you thought the last Fiat 500 was bad, then this one is in a league of its own. This is probably the dirtiest car I've ever seen, and it's not even from Copart. Every crevice is stuffed with empty takeaway containers and mouldy leftover food, and the seats are extremely dirty with stains left everywhere. If this car was ever to be able to be repaired, just getting the interior remotely clean would be a full-blown project on its own, and it doesn't get better underneath. The exhaust is barely hanging on for dear life, the sump is leaking, and the engine can't even be bothered to run properly. But in all fairness, it does have Apple CarPlay.
As you can imagine, there are loads of cars out there being sold as spares or repairs. Some are decent, others not so much. When I went to pick up this little Fiat 500, I ended up in what was probably the dodgiest car deal I've ever been involved in. I broke pretty much every rule when it comes to buying a used car. The car was parked in a quiet industrial estate, literally in the middle of nowhere. It was dark, wet, and honestly, the whole thing was sketchy. I hadn't even spoken to the seller on the phone. Everything was done through Messenger. And when I got there, it wasn't even the seller who met me. He sent some mate to take the money. Looking back, it's ridiculous I even went through with it. I did at least run checks on the car to make sure it wasn't stolen or written off. It came with a logbook and one key, but that was it. No service history, no paperwork, nothing. To top it off, the original advert was deleted, so I can't even show you what the pictures from the original listing looked like. Only this one picture with the car parked in a location before the seller arrived. So yeah, I'm sure by now you've got a pretty good idea where this is going. I've only bought this car for parts, but this could have been a lot worse.
Now before I do anything with this car, I wanted to see if I could actually read the ECU to see if it comes up with any faults. And it's not even detecting that it's an ECU and it's unable to. So that's probably one of the reasons why this car's not starting. Now this has definitely been tampered with, because this green cable is what's connected to the starter motor, so I don't know whether they've done that as an earth. But looking at this, that's not good. So it's obviously that port is not detecting the ECU for some reason. A lot of you should know me by now. I don't like to just leave things go. Before I do anything with this car, I want to see why it won't start. It could be something simple. I know they've changed the coil pack, they've changed the throttle body, they've changed spark plugs. For whatever reason, obviously they've had a problem with it running, they've had to tow it. Now I reckon we could get this running with a new wiring loom. The amount of problems we had with that Volkswagen Polo, and it was all to do with the wiring loom. Ah, okay, so they've made their own. Oh my god, look at that. What's that in there for? So obviously that must be some sort of earth, I'm assuming. Why didn't they just connected that wire back up then? And I take that is holding it in. So I've just been potching with this just to see if I can just get it to read a VIN number. That's the one off the car, and that's one that is off that one. Now I haven't gone to start it or nothing like that. I just wanted to see if this diagnostics would read the ECU and it's still detecting no VIN or failed to read VIN code. Alright, so whatever the issue is, it's not the ECU, I don't think, it's the wiring. So, or it could be a fuse somewhere, so that's probably why it doesn't start. But when you jump in here, you're overriding the starter to get it to run. You could possibly replace the old wiring loom in here, and then you might cure the issue and get it to start, but I just don't know what to do. It's a shame really, because it could be a good little car, I think, if it would just start. If we get it to start, that'd be something. Anyway, I've tried that. That doesn't work. I don't want to start it because I don't want to do any damage to this, because we know this one's good, and so that can go on there. And I know it's some sort of wiring or electrical issue is the reason why it's not detecting the ECU. I've gone underneath the front of the car. All the cables are connected in the OBD port, so it's not that. So it's some sort of electrical issue that they've gone in here and potzed with.
Now, out of curiosity, I wanted to check the compression on each cylinder to find out if there was a leak between the piston rings or even a leaky valve. It turns out that cylinder 3 and 4 have considerably lower readings than cylinder 1 and 2. Now, 125 psi isn't considered extremely low, but more than 10% discrepancy between cylinders can cause a misfire or even cause the car to fail to start.
So what I'm going to do now is literally just put a little bit of oil inside where the spark plug goes and see if it improves the pressure.
Even with adding a little oil to cylinder 3 and 4, it didn't make any difference. Normally when you have two cylinders low together, that indicates a possible head gasket failure, but unless we strip down the engine, we will never know.
A lot has happened since I last recorded that last little bit. I've been mucking around with this car off camera, only because I didn't want to bore you too much with me just tinkering with things. Now let me show you what I've done and explain a little bit more about this car. To be honest with you, I think this engine has had it. I think the head gasket has gone on it. When I had it running, it was pressurizing quite quickly. The fan was running quite quickly. There was a lot of, I say, condensation coming out of the exhaust. It didn't smell quite right. There's no moisture or anything inside there to indicate that it has. I think this has been tampered with so much that I'm opening a can of worms for myself with this. It still is going to need a lot of work to get it up for sale. The bodywork alone, you've got a lot of lacquer peel. See it there on the roof is lacquer peel there.
Now we know why this dodgy Fiat 500 was listed as spares or repairs. Its fate is well and truly sealed. Originally, I picked up this car with one goal, to use it for parts to fix another Fiat 500. The whole thing cost me just £400, and honestly, the panels alone are probably worth that. Let me break it down for you. A front bumper in the right paint code, if you're lucky, can set you back around about £200. A working gearbox can set you back around about £150 to £400 depending on the age and mileage, so that's nearly the price of the whole car already. The rear bumper, that's another £120. A replacement wing costs about £100. And don't forget the slam panel, roughly around about £150. Don't forget we got headlights and side lights that need to be replaced as well. So all things considered, I've actually saved money by picking up this parts car. The cherry on the top, I've made sure that it has the exact same paint code before buying, so hopefully there's no mismatched panels or pricey resprays.
So before I take his front bumper off, I'm going to take his towing eye out. Comment below what you think is wrong with it. And now we've got to do the arch liners.
I just want to say a big thank you to our members for their continued support. Why don't you consider becoming a member of the Valleys crew, where you get perks like badges and shout outs and other cool stuff.
Right, now the bumper's off, but I've noticed already this one is broke. Also, I had trouble taking this clip off. It's all corroded in there, and I think one of them pins is snapped. So this is knackered. Lucky it's not the side that's damaged.
So underneath the bumper you've got two 8mm bolts to undo. So that's that there, and now we got one each side of the wheel arch liner. So we got two Phillips screw heads that hold the wheel arch liner to the bumper. Now looking around the back of this bumper, it's nowhere near perfect. It's got some marks on it. Chrome is cracked there. It's got some crease marks where this has been pushed in at some point. There, some cracks in the paint. There, and all there. A little bit there. So this bumper is nowhere near perfect, but it's good enough to go on the other car. I just hope the colour match. I'm sure they do. They're both the same paint code. I'm hoping they're the same shade. Now I could go and replace this and spray this, and I'm not looking for perfection on that car. I'm just looking for a cheap runabout. So hopefully we can get everything onto that car and make a little bit of profit off it. So hidden behind the wheel arch liner, there is another screw. I'm just having a quick look underneath here. Well, obviously while I'm taking the bumper off, I've just noticed this. Now this is the bracket for the brake pipeline. It might be the handbrake cable actually. Snapped off, and it's the same the other side. So I would imagine that would probably be a fail. It probably would be at my garage anyway. They might advise on that. Some other places I would have thought that would be a fail, or anything to do with brakes. They're normally pretty strict. You could probably weld that back on, or you could possibly get a new axle.
Right.
No, it's literally tyre on, tyre off. Right? So,
Formula One.
yeah. Go. All four tyres are totally bald on this Fiat. So another bonus is the donut car has good tyres all round. So there's another massive saving, so no need to pay for replacements. The other problem is the parts car won't start and we can't get it off the lift. The more we pushed, the more the lift was moving. The lift was moving due to the fact I had left the transportation wheels on the back. I was still trying to get to grips with this lift and I didn't realise. Now I've turned the lift around and removed the wheels. In the end we had to use some blocks of wood to raise the car higher than the lift. Eventually this worked, but the lift was hanging out the garage.
Yes! That's how you do it, boys.
Push it, tilt it down. Push that down, and then I'll lift it up. You push it?
That's right. Single block. You can't be for real.
Tom, what am I doing with my life, boy?
Dad, I don't know. We need to do something. So in 5 months, these two Fiats have sat dormant, growing mould, gathering dust and just rotting away. Although the Fiats have sat around, we certainly haven't. My mother's BMW decided to throw in the towel, and my Polo needed repairs that costed over £1,000 in parts alone. Not only that, the Audi S1 is still in a state of disrepair, just gathering dust in the garage. I personally think the car's just waiting for me to be its owner, but who knows. But in the midst of all that chaos, we somehow ended up buying a purple Fiat 500. It needed a ton of work, but we rebuilt it from the ground up and got it roadworthy, and thankfully it has now sold. All of this happened right after picking up the two Fiats, which have just been waiting for their turn. The time has finally now come when we tackle these absolutely stinking and disgusting cars and hopefully get at least one back up and running, if that is at all possible. Find out next time. I hope you guys bloody enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.